The District Report Card Overview is important to all stakeholders who want to know how a given district and its schools are performing according to the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's annual report card. Bear in mind that, as the title suggests, this report only provides an overview. Click each of the on-screen questions to learn more about this report. Initially, this overview displays data from the most recent report card for the selected district, but it's easy to retrieve school-level data within the district by selecting one of the schools listed at the bottom of the screen under the question, "What are our school's accountability and assistance levels?" For now, though, let's stay at the district level and examine the information contained in the 3 boxes below the question, "How is our district doing overall?" Under Accountability and Assistance Levels, the district's overall level is indicated in a color-coded box. Accountability and assistance levels are based on how well the district is meeting its goals for narrowing proficiency gaps. The levels range from 1 to 5, with 1 being the highest. Approximately 80% of schools are classified as Level 1 or 2 based on the cumulative PPI, or Progress and Performance Index, for the All Students and High Need Students groups. In order for a school to be placed into Level 1, the cumulative PPI for both the All Students and High Needs Students groups must be 75 or higher. If not, the school is classified as Level 2. A school may also be classified as Level 2 if it has low assessment participation rates for any group, which means between 90 and 95%. There are a number of reasons why schools may be placed into Level 3. If they are among the lowest 20% relative to other schools of the same type statewide, or if one or more subgroups in the school are among the lowest performing 20% of subgroups relative to all subgroups statewide, they will be classified into Level 3. If they have persistently low graduation rates for any subgroup over a 4-year period, or if they have less than 90% assessment participation rates in the state assessment for any group, they may also be placed into Level 3. Levels 4 and 5 are the most serious designations in Massachusetts' accountability system. The lowest achieving, least improving Level 3 schools are candidates for classification into Level 4. Those Level 4 schools that do not show significant improvement after 3 years are eligible for classification into Level 5. In general, a district is classified into the level of its lowest performing school, unless the district was independently placed into Level 4 or 5 as a result of action by the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. Since a district's level is determined by the level of the lowest performing school, a district with 4 Level 2 schools and 1 Level 3 school is considered a Level 3 district. This is why it is important to view both the district and school level reports to understand whether issues to be addressed are systemic or localized to a school. The district's overall progress in narrowing gaps is illustrated in the adjacent box and identified as meeting or not meeting their assigned target. Narrowing gaps refers to the progress each group is making towards the state's goal of reducing proficiency gaps by half by the end of the 2016-17 school year, as measured by the Cumulative Progress and Performance Index, or PPI. The proficiency gap is the difference between a district, school, or group's current performance and 100% proficiency. While this overview only highlights the gap-narrowing progress of certain populations, the complete report card and other related reports include information on subgroups related to student race or ethnicity, language background, income status, and disability status. Finally, this part of the report shows whether the district is determined to be in need of special education technical assistance or intervention from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Special education determinations, which range from meets requirements to needs substantial intervention, are issued only at the district level and generally correspond to the district's accountability and assistance level. Districts that are not meeting requirements around special education performance or compliance may need to implement additional strategies or systems to meet the needs of all learners, especially students with disabilities. This next part of the report card overview shows the district's achievement over time and how it compares to the state's performance over that same period. The first set of data shows the percent of students scoring proficient or above on the English Language Arts IMCAS test in each of the last 4 years. Just below that are corresponding rates for proficiency across the state for the same years. State and district proficiency rates for math and science are to the right of these. The graphical format we find here allows for a quick look at trends in the data over time, and for simple comparisons of district or school performance against state averages. The bottom section of this screen looks at student growth in English Language Arts and Mathematics for the selected district compared to state medians. Massachusetts uses student growth percentiles, or SGPs, to measure how student achievement has grown or changed over time for groups of students. A median district SGP between 40 and 60 is considered moderate growth. A median SGP below 40 is considered lower growth, while a median SGP above 60 is considered higher growth. The next section of this report compares school and district enrollment to that of the state, looking at total enrollment as well as numbers and percentages of students in each of the groups making up the high needs subgroup, including low-income students, students with disabilities, and current and former English language learners. Below this information, you will find data about the number of teachers in the district, the percentage of core academic classes taught by highly qualified teachers, the average class size in the school or district, and the student-teacher ratio. The final section of this report provides an overview of additional key information, including attendance, discipline, and high school completion rates for a given district or school. School attendance is an important indicator of student engagement in the life of the school and in the daily learning opportunities that are provided there. In fact, research shows that a child's attendance record may be the single biggest factor influencing his or her academic success. You'll want to look closely at this data for your school or district and, if necessary, identify steps that all stakeholders, including parents and the larger community, can take to reduce absenteeism and increase student engagement. Discipline data are reported using the percentage of in-school and out-of-school suspensions for a given year. Suspensions are disruptive not only to the suspended students, but to the entire school community. If your school or district's suspension rate is higher than the state as a whole, or higher than similar districts, you may want to identify what school leaders, community members, and parents can do to address this issue. Finally, the report contains data on high school completion rates. The ultimate goal for any K-12 school district is that the highest possible percentage of its students graduate. All Massachusetts districts and schools are expected to make steady progress toward a goal of 90% for the 4-year cohort graduation rate, or 95% for the 5-year rate by the 2016-17 school year. Cohort graduation rates are lagged by 1 year for accountability determinations to allow the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, district, and school staff the opportunity to fully review the data. Therefore, the most recent 5-year graduation rate data is from 2012 for the 5-year cohort and 2013 for the 4-year cohort. The 5-year graduation rate measures the percentage of students who earned their high school diploma within 5 years of entering high school. The 4-year rate reflects the percentage of students graduating within the expected 4-year period. The annual dropout rate reflects 1 year of dropout data across grades 9 through 12, and not a particular cohort of students across multiple years. This report provides annual dropout data to education leaders so they can develop and strengthen dropout prevention programs. Data reported on graduates attending institutions of higher education include the percentage of high school graduates who enrolled in an institution of higher education within 16 months of graduating from high school. Institutions of higher education include private 2-year, private 4-year, public 2-year, and public 4-year institutions. These data provide district information for all high school graduates from the most recent high school graduating class for which data are available. The percentage of 12th graders taking one or more advanced placement courses for which they can earn college credit is a useful indicator of the rigor or level of challenge in the high school curriculum in your district or school. AP courses challenge students to reach beyond the standard high school curriculum and prepare them for rigorous college courses. The Scholastic Aptitude Test, or SAT, is commonly used for college admissions and is administered to high school juniors and seniors. SAT scores are reported on a scale from 200 to 800, with separate averages given for reading, writing, and math. You can use this report to compare how your school, district, and the state did on each subject area SAT test in the year indicated. Finally, the percentage of students who complete the rigorous course of study known as MassCore is shown for the school, district, and state. The MassCore curriculum includes 4 years of English, math, and science, as well as 3 years of history, 2 years of a foreign language, 1 year in the arts, and 5 additional core courses. MassCore is intended to help prepare our state's high school students for college and career, and to reduce the number of students taking remedial courses in college. The school-level report card overview contains one additional and important piece of information: the school percentile, which compares the selected school to all other schools across the state that serve the same or similar grades. A percentile of 44 means that the selected school performed better than 44% and worse than 56% of similar schools. How you use this report will be different if you are an administrator, a teacher, or a member of the community. Click the icon that best matches your role to learn more. For a school or district administrator, this report card overview provides valuable, high-level information about the performance of the district as a whole and of each school in the areas reported. The report makes it easy to compare district and school performance to the state averages in narrowing proficiency gaps, MCAS performance, student growth, student demographics, teacher demographics, attendance, discipline, and high school completion and college readiness. But before you dive in, it's helpful to identify questions that can guide your exploration of the reports and your analysis of the data. You'll want these questions to reflect your school's or district's unique needs, but the questions shown here can get you started. For example, you might wonder how schools in your district compare to the state in 4- and 5-year graduation rates. By drilling down to view a single school, you can see which schools struggled to graduate students within 4 years compared to state averages. Once you've found the answers to your initial question, you might decide to dig deeper into your school or district data to determine why those identified schools have higher or lower graduation rates. As you continue to explore this report, think about some of the other guiding questions shown here, particularly those that encourage you to use this data to examine trends over time and to consider what modifications to instruction and programs could address the needs of all students. As an educator, you can use this report to see how students in your district and school are doing compared to the state overall, and you can see this data for any school in your district. Before you dive in, it's helpful to identify questions that can guide your exploration of this report and analysis of the data. You'll want these questions to reflect your school's unique needs, but the questions shown here can get you started. You might want to investigate how your school's performance on MCAS has changed over time to see if the instructional initiatives your school has implemented are having the desired impact. By viewing MCAS performance over a number of years, you can see if student achievement and growth are changing and meeting your school's goals for improvement. As you continue to explore this report, think about some of the other guiding questions shown here, particularly those that encourage you to use this data to examine trends over time and to consider what modifications to instruction and programs could address the needs of all students. As a parent or member of the community, you can use this report to review the performance of your district as a whole and of each individual school in your community. But before you dive in, it's helpful to identify questions that can guide your exploration of the report and analysis of the data. You'll want these questions to reflect your unique needs as a parent or member of the community at large, but the questions shown here can get you started. Let's look at the first question. With this question in mind, you can view the graph that identifies the annual percentage of students scoring proficient or higher in English language arts, math, and science for your district and compare these to state averages. If you have a child in a school with lower graduation rates, or if, as a community member, you are interested in supporting the district's efforts to increase graduation rates, you might want to have a discussion with your school leadership to discover how you can access or advocate for ways to provide the interventions and supports that students who are at a greater risk of not graduating need if they are to be successful. You also might want to compare your school's graduation rates with other schools in your local area or district. If you find that other schools have a significantly higher rate of students graduating on time, you might want to contact that school to find out what programs or supports they believe have been most effective in maximizing graduation rates. Now that you have a pretty clear picture of how your district or school is performing compared to the state, you'll want to consider your next steps on the road to improvement. Here are some suggestions. You might first take a look at the complete report card and accountability report for each district and school to find even more detailed data, such as disaggregated results by student subgroups. Next, conducting a root cause analysis can help you and your colleagues investigate further to reveal possible issues. Then, you'll want to work in district or school teams to develop strategies that address any areas of concern, either through targeted professional development with educators or through new scaffolds of support and focused instruction for your students. Using the various district analysis and review tools, or DARTs, you can compare various student indicators to those of districts or schools that are similar to yours in size and demographics. Using the DART, you may be able to identify other schools or districts that are having success in a particular area and that may be able to recommend effective strategies for improvement. Finally, for educators who have secure access granted by their district, Edwin Analytics provides several early warning indicator system reports. These reports give more detailed information on attendance rates, suspensions, MCAS performance, high school graduation rates, and more.